I agree with Tim that trade is win-win, and if you look at these relationships objectively, we should go try to settle this easily so that we both can win. I think the administration sees trade as a win-lose proposition where we need to win and China needs to lose, or any of our other trading partners need to lose. So that's why I'm not optimistic. I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
What does China do next, Tony?
Well, China imposed its tariffs. I think we're on the next step where the administration said they would go to phase 3 if China retaliated. China retaliated, so I assume we're going to phase 3 now.
So, Tracie, explain the market moves today. You might have thought the day after the Trump administration announces tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports, you might see a negative reaction in the markets. I mean, to be fair, this was pretty well telegraphed and expected. But how do you make sense of some of the action? Nasdaq's up now 0.7%.
Sure. So, yes, it was telegraphed pretty well, and I think the markets did expect this increase, the escalation in tariffs with China. And what we are seeing this morning is actually a rise in the U.S. markets. Maybe that's because market participants expect this increased pressure to bring the two parties together more quickly, and that could lead to a faster resolution. We're not so sure that that's necessarily the case. We do think this will be a long, drawn-out, complicated process of getting some kind of resolution here with China.
So you're saying that the market is viewing this as just a negotiating tactic to bring China to the table and to get the demands that the U.S. wants?
Actually, Wilbur Ross said as much in your interview with him this morning. He said that tariffs are not the end game. The end game here is actually getting some resolution to some long-standing issues, such as technology transfer, intellectual property rights, and some of the subsidies that China affords industries within its borders.
Tony, is that going to work? I mean, the administration hasn't exactly laid out what they would like to see to remove the tariffs. So I wonder if the market has this right.
Yeah, well, I don't think the market does have it right, because those things that were just mentioned, those are the things. They've been on the table. They were on the table when I sat in bilateral meetings with the Chinese, 15 years ago. They were exactly the same issues, and they're very hard to quantify and get real agreement on. So that's why I do think those kinds of negotiations are going to take a long time. If China said tomorrow, look, we got you, we're going to take care of intellectual property and technology transfer, then how would they prove it in a way that the Americans would take off the tariffs? And by the way, make some gives on their end also. The Chinese have some asks here as well on things like investing in the United States and export control. So these are very complex negotiations. These are the two largest national economies in the world, and the relationship is very complex. This is not going to be settled easily.